lesson 8, and for all of you faithful followers, after 7 lessons, yes, we are finally going to learn to play more notes. I have a philosophy in my teaching, which is perfect the simple and you can play the advanced. That's why I like to stress, spend a lot of time on that B, A, and G, or mi, re, and do. Now, for those of you who have come along on this whole journey, if you'd like to take your playing to a little higher level, yes, I'm going to give a little ad here. On our website, for only $5 US, we have what is called the BAG package. B-A-G package. It has everything we've done, every exercise, every song, plus another extra song is in there. But it comes with the music with the demonstration file, demo file, and accompaniment file, and it'll download right to your device. And when you start playing music with other music behind you, so with accompaniments, it pushes you to a higher level, and it's also going to help prepare you to hopefully play with other recorder players someday. So just check it out. I just wanted to let you know it was there. But right now, let's get right into the new notes. Now there's 2 ways of approaching the next set of notes on recorder. So for any music teachers out there, I know that a lot of elementary school teachers like to approach it pentatonically, which means the next note they're going to learn is the low E and probably the low D. Wonderful, keep doing it that way. I often taught diatonically, which means I approached it with the high D and the high C, simply because 80% of our students were involved in a string program or band program. So I was just approaching it right the same way the band method book went. Either way is fine. For these lessons, I am going to approach it pentatonically. You don't need to understand what that word means. I was mainly speaking to music educators out there because I now want you to get used to your right hand. If you haven't already done so, we're now taking it from here. We're bringing it up to here. Now, just like the top hand, your hand just comes in very naturally. Your thumb goes right on the back of the recorder. Whoops, let's see if you can see that. Your thumb goes right there. What you're going to want to do is line your thumb up to where your hand just very comfortably covers those holes. Don't start doing this. Whenever people start to arch their fingers, that's when their fingers come off the hole, even the top hands. That's why I say your hand is natural. Just keep your fingers flat. The balls of the fingers go right over those holes. Now I'm going to show you one little gadget that I often use with some of my senior citizens because it helps them out. It's a little thumb rest. Now it'll probably cost you more to have this mailed to you than it will to purchase it because it's only about 80 or 90 cents to purchase it. But it really helps a lot of my senior citizens. This little thumb rest allows you to rest your thumb there. It's hard for you to see this. Can you see it? Yeah, right there. Now, how do you know where to put it? Well, you put it in a position where your hand fits right where your fingers can naturally go to the holes. So it's probably going to be pretty close to that first hole of the bottom hand. You know, you just have to slide it a little to find out where your hand fits best. So I just want you to know about that little gadget. I don't use one on my soprano recorder, but a lot of my seniors do. And I found most of my young students didn't need to use it. But it's out there and it's a good thing to have if you need it. So we're going to start in right with the E. That's the next note we're learning. It's called low E. You're going to need 2 fingers down on the bottom hand. Now, just like we did with the B, A, and G, we're going to practice it with our 3-note patterns. So I'm going to play 3 Gs. Then I'm going to play 3 E's. together. 3 G's, 3 E's. 1, 2, ready, play. Again, 1, 2, ready, play. And of course, just like with the BAs and Gs, then you move from a pattern of 3 to 2 and finally to 1. So I'm just going to do that very quickly. You can practice it at home slowly. So that's what you want to do to get used to the low E. When you're used to getting that sound for the low E, and I just love that low E because I am a real low note person. I love playing the lower recorders, and we're going to talk about that one day. But here's the E. Where is the E on that staff? Let me make sure you can see it, okay? Again, you don't need to see me. Here's the E. It's on line 1 of the staff, the very first line. And yes, it has stems that go up. So you have E's where the stems go up, you have G's where the stems go up, you have A's where the stems go up, unless of course their whole notes are semibreves. And that's why you have to know where they are on the staff. So this little exercise is just practicing G's to E's, G's to E's, a bunch of the E's and a G to an E. And that gets you used to the E. So let's learn to play that exercise. Now, I'm going to play it. You may play along with me, or you may simply listen. So here I go. 1, 2, 3, play. Students, so again, if there's any teachers out there, I used to vary the rhythms of that exercise. So for instance, I would turn all the whole notes into 4/4 notes. So those are little ways to vary it. Now if you found learning this E really easy, then you're ready for our Chinese folk song. And we've tried to vary a lot of the songs we do. This is a genuine Chinese folk song. This is not something that's made up. You'll find it on the internet. So let's do some review. Time signature, it's 4/4. That means there are 4 counts in every measure. The 4 on the bottom tells you that those quarter notes are the notes that get 1 beat, and we work every other note around that. How many measures do we have? Boxes of notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 measures. We know we have to go on when we get here because there's not a double bar line, so we continue on. There's our double bar line. The song is over. We have our G clef or treble clef, and I just want you to start to remember that that's a sharp sign. We're going to talk about that in the future, but now you've just been exposed to the fact that it's a sharp sign. Now I'm only going to play the Chinese folk song one time for you. So that way you can hear it, and then you can practice it on your own. So here we go. We start on the low E, so we have to have our E ready. 1, 2, Here we go. I think I have a little water in there. Remember we talked about how to do that? But this is just a beautiful, beautiful song, and the accompaniment we've used has Chinese instruments in the background. Now, some of you might wonder, what is this asterisk? I know some of you are going to say, I wonder what that is, because I've had a lot of my adult students say, what is that little asterisk for? Well, when you have the accompaniment, so if you've already purchased, say, the hard copy with the CD, or you want to get the download, this is the melodic introduction. So the CD, the accompaniment would play this introduction, and when it's done, it means it's time for you to start playing with the music. That's what those asterisks are. So work on the Chinese folk song. Now we're going to get right into the low D, and I have to call it low D because the next note you're going to learn is high D. And so we have to distinguish between low D and high D. Now low D, can you see that it's underneath the staff or the stave or the pentagramma, depending on which country you're in? It's underneath the line. So it sits right underneath the E. And if you look at this diagram, you'll see that all the holes are colored in. The thumb, every one of these fingers, except for that bottom set of double holes. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm just going to show you E and D. E and D. So once again, we start that 3-note pattern with 3 E's. And then 3 D's. Now sometimes when you're a beginner at the recorder, whether you're young or old, a lot of people won't get that note fully covered. And then they'll get a sound like this, instead of, hope you could hear that difference. This is the difference again. Whoops. So you've really got to get that finger over there. So the practice pattern again would be 3, back and forth. Let's try that together. 1, 2, on E. Then 2, then 1, the next thing I would suggest that you work on this until you go to the next lesson is all 5 notes that we have learned. That means B, A, G, E, and D. So listen. And with those 5 notes, I can improvise around the recorder. So that's what you can play with 5 notes. So that's all we're going to do in today's lesson. Once again, if you found it easy, move on to lesson 9. We're going to learn the high D. We're going to learn several new songs at that point in time. So I'll see you for lesson 9. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this journey.